Norman actually found an article on the corruption of CPS in Arizona. And then like
After
two
we
days
talk about
later,
that,
this is all happening. So we were gonna go over that article.
actually, yeah, let's do that right now. So let me share this. All right. So what we're looking at here is the Arizona Auditor General, and there's if you go to www.azauditor.gov, you can actually pull this up. This is the July 5th, 2023 report. Um, in this view, uh, what I wanted to bring up, this is a pretty long report. I think there's like 39 pages. But when you go into the hourglass and you type in violation, it skips you down here to like page something. I don't even know what page this is, but it's about the middle of the report or towards the end of the report. And it shows here the specific violations. And I wanted to go over the numbers so that way you guys get an idea as far as the math and why the math is off, even with this shoddy ass audit. Now, I'm going to read this to you, and I'll bring it up in the rewind. I'll bring it up in the edit. But it says here the scope of our review focuses on full access of information and documentation within Guardian. Now, Guardian is their system that they use statewide for CPS here in Arizona, but did not evaluate whether all department information the ombudsman may be permitted to access was stored in Guardian. So, in other words, what they're saying is they only had access to the state ran facility Guardian, access to that terminal. Anything that the state may have taken out of there and put into a different system to hide from them, they cannot account for if that happened or not. And that's basically what they're saying. So we
Uh-huh.
can't guarantee that this is a full honest audit because probably all the good juicy cases they don't want the public to know
Are
about,
hidden.
yeah, they're under litigation, so they wouldn't be for the public for the audit, especially if they're under seal for court or they're in litigation right now. They can't be exposed to the public. So it says here the 121 investigated complaints were stratified into 4 categories based on the status of the investigations. And we randomly sampled investigated complaints from each category as follows: 25 of 32 investigations closed without a finding. So that means that there was no finding of bad terms or anything, no finding one way or another. They were just closed out because they were unsubstantial. There was no evidence one way or another. 6 of 15 investigations closed with finding. So that means 6 of the 15 complaints, there was actually a violation in those. So you have 16 cases. I'm sorry, you have 15 cases. That means over a third. That means over 1/3 of them were
Mm.
found to be at fault of CPS in some form or fashion. I don't know about you, but
Wow.
1/3 is not an acceptable mathematical proportion to
It
me as far as
shouldn't even be there
it
shouldn't be
shouldn't be
any.
even there shouldn't even be a 5% error margin a
No.
margin of error when it comes to
Th-
our kids,
Just
let
show
alone
Gabriel
33.
Fernandez, Noah Cuarto, all the kids Anthony Avelos, they died because of CPS. There shouldn't be
So
any.
hold on. 3 of the 7 open investigations where the state ombudsman had identified a potential agency violation. So there, where they actually caught it before it had to go, to where the supervisor. It sounds like to me where the agency actually caught it before it had to be exasperated into anything else as far as an investigation. So it was probably out of those complaints, it was probably nipped in the bud right off top, and they corrected the situation from what it sounds like. So, uh, and 25 of 67 open violations or investigations with no agency violations yet identified. So that means that there's no agency violations, but it doesn't mean there's no civil violations, like in my case. So she may have they may not find her guilty of doing anything. Well, actually, in this case with my daughter, her assaulting my daughter with the phone, that's actually because she's an employee. That would be a fault of the state because she's on the company time and she was representing of the state as an employee. But let's say there was something where the uh, CPS agent wasn't on duty and she just ran into somebody off, in the laundry, or whatever at the grocery store or whatever, and they had an interaction. So that would be something that would pertain to as far as investigating on duty or whatever. It says between March 1st, 2022 and July 31st, 2022, the state ombudsman had initiated investigations for an additional 65 complaints, but then declined to continue to investigate for various reasons. And thus, we did not include these investigations in our population for the sampling purpose. So instead of 121, there should have been 186 investigated complaints. So again, I'm going to read this again. We did not review every investigation selected in our random stratified sample as outlined in our footnote 71. Instead, we employed a stop and go method of review the following number of investigations for each investigation category. For a total of 14 investigations reviewed, 2 investigations closed without finding, 4 investigations closed with a finding, 3 open investigations where the state ombudsman had identified a potential agency violation, and 5 open investigations where no agency violations yet identified.
Wow.
Yeah,
and these caseworkers, they don't even probably lose their jobs, right?
so basically, in a nutshell, when you go through the article, and it's long, there's a lot of stuff in here. It's very long. It goes over a lot of issues in here and subtitles, but it also talks about as far as like the rules, and it made a point in here about the findings here. It said some caseworkers did not comply with the department case review attendance policy, preventing some local boards from conducting complete reviews of children in and out of home care. In February of 2021, the department began using Guardian, which includes multiple tools for caseworkers to manage and store information about children's cases. Statutes and department policy and guidelines require department and its caseworkers to provide information to help local boards review children's progress towards perimacy. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time reading that. Perimacy. I can't even read it. Department's automated information exchange did not provide some case documents to the Administrative Office of the Courts, or AOC, on behalf of local boards to help them review children's cases because of various issues, including AOC staff's errors requesting documents and department not issuing documents were stored in Guardian, which has negatively impacted AOC's and local boards' trust and confidence in the department. Some caseworkers did not comply with the department's case review attendance policy, which I just read, and so they weren't abreast on everything. And the department was provided state ombudsman direct remote access to Guardian pursuant to the statute, with some expectations with these agencies will continue to meet to discuss state ombudsman's access to Guardian. Key recommendations: the department should ensure to provide all accessible case documents to AOC on behalf of the local boards. Solicit feedback from AOC about automated information exchange issues and take steps to address those issues. Ensure caseworkers comply with the department case review attendance policy requirements, including tracking caseworkers' attendance at case reviews, and determine that the information to provide to AOC when caseworkers cannot attend these reviews. Last, develop and implement guidance for what corrective action supervisors should take in response to caseworkers. Non-compliance with the department policies, such as policies for maintaining case documents in Guardian and attending case reviews.